Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Phil from Zaid Comics. I am the writer and co-creator of books like Magic Cop and The Lost Pages, which is in demand on Indiegogo right now, and just one half of the two best-looking brothers in all of comics. And today we're back with a new video. It's been a while. We have been getting ready to ship all of our books out for The Lost Pages, and before we get into this video that's going to be about one of the awesome characters, I want to show you guys that the proof is in, and in a couple days we'll have all of the books in hand ready to ship out. If you guys go to the link below to the Indiegogo to check out The Lost Pages, you can get both of these books. This is the main book, has 60 pages of story, and this is our bonus supplemental book that has 45 pages of extra content, extra story about new characters. Look at this wraparound cover. This is a new series about a universe of heroes that will eventually fight alongside each other, and this is introducing all the heroes with a beautiful Simon Bisley cover. But enough of that, we'll get into one of the heroes today. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorites. I think it's a fan favorite at this point, and I'm just going to show you the interior cover of this character, CRIMSTONE, baby. Yeah. So if you guys are a fan of 90s ultra-violent, bombastic characters, you're going to love CRIMSTONE and this crazy monster, Crim, in the background shot of this interior cover. So yeah, CRIMSTONE is a character, like a lot of them in the Lost Pages, that we've had for a really long time, right? My brother and I started designing these characters back in 2012, and CRIMSTONE was an early one. I really knew I wanted to create a character like this, just because of my passion and love for characters like Lobo, that 1990s, a lot of action, high energy, totally high T character. And in fact, if we look at the one of the original concept arts for the character that was done by Maria Lopez, the wolf who did the interiors of the story for us, this concept was done, man, probably like 2013 or something, maybe a little earlier. And it's a guy. The original concept was there was this guy who's going to be an African American guy that was really muscular, jacked. He really didn't know what was going on with him mentally, and that was because we as creators didn't really know who the character was yet. There was concepts thrown out that there was always going to be this big monster, right? And it was always going to be in his head. I wanted to put a little twist on that Lobo-esque figure, a little twist on a character like the Max, and have this big hulking monster that was very far from being human, but only the main character saw this monster and saw himself as this monster sometimes. So the reader would see the action happening and the monster tearing through people, but it was actually the human doing so. So you get this kind of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde feel. It makes the readers uneasy because they don't know if anyone else sees the character. We're seeing the monster in reflections, and it was originally going to be a man. It went through many iterations. So this was the start of it. As you can see, it always had the sunglasses because I love, I have these over-the-top Oakley sunglasses, and he would wear them, and it would mask the markings on the monster's head. The smoke mohawk came much later, and we'll get into that. And CRIMSTONE was not the original name, actually. We were playing around with names like Thrash, something like that. I remember it was thrown around. Much evolution came to this character, and it's vastly different. I went through, pulled things out of people I dealt with that had anxiety and personality traits and self-esteem issues, stuff like that. And I thought making it a female character that dealt with these things like anxiety and self-esteem and mental anguish and everyday stresses. And we thought that it would be really cool if this monster in the protagonist's mind was originally an imaginary friend, a way to cope with all of that stress in a child that had no friends. Um, and so I think that just blew out of the gate and made this concept even more interesting, taking that high T badass character and mirroring it with this female character that kind of feels lost and doesn't know how to cope with things. So he is her rock. Um, so once we hit on the imaginary friend thing, the female protagonist came into play, and just everything kind of fell together like Tetris blocks. I was really excited about the character and really excited to get concepts in for the character. So I hit years later. I mean, I've known Maria for years. Years later, I hit her up after we started doing Magic Cop, and I'm like, hey, I would love you to come back to this character. I think back then we didn't even have a name for him yet, that character, and now is totally different. She loved the idea of it being this strong, badass chick that was kind of like a biker, bodybuilder chick. I think in this story you'll see kind of the growth of the character because we see her as young going into old, and we hit the books doing concepts. When I do this, I usually batch out references. I'm like, okay, I'd look at images on Instagram or bodybuilder models and stuff. Send her pictures like, oh, I like this, and or other characters. I like this kind of body. I like this hair. This hair is really cool. So we went through stuff like that. And then the concepts started coming in, the designs, the sketches, was so fun to see these characters come to life. For Crim, I at the time was really into the mask, and I still am. I love Doug Mankey's The Mask, and I love those square teeth. So I'm like, I would rather them be square than pointy, to kind of get away from Venom, because it was hard to explain the character of Crim, the monster. And I'm like, what could separate him from Venom? Okay, this cool smoke mohawk, that would be really cool, you know. And because playing to Maria's strengths, she excels in drawing smoke. I love when she draws smoke. In her monstrous character, she does a lot of times smoke coming out of the beast's mouth to signify a rage or heat inside of them. And so I know how great she is at illustrating smoke. So let's do smoke hair. All right. And the thing that's going to the thing that's going to separate Crim a lot also are these tattoos, right? He's got these really cool arrow graphical graffiti tattoos that ties into Taz's, you know, urban background and her graffiti tagging, theme in her story. So let's put these graphical artsy tattoos on him. And as we know, for a lot of artists, that's difficult. Tattoos are really intricate. Maria, she's very speedy. She loves detail and she loves a challenge. But I'm like, okay, this guy's an imaginary friend. Let's have, to make it easier on the artist, to make it cooler for the readers, the tattoos could change at any time because he's imaginary. So anything he's doing, if he's punching someone in the face, they could say KO on the tattoos. On the cover of the book, I was talking to Simon Bisley and being like, hey, we should do something cool for the cover for the tattoos. Could you put read this on his arms or his knuckles? And he did that. So they're very adaptable into whatever the artist or writer would want them to be, and it's a cool extra graphical layer to the story that I think heightens his design, makes him more unique. And over time, you know, the character just came into his own. Other people gravitated towards the character, and she's just one of my favorites. A lot of fun. We're gonna do a lot in the future with CRIMSTONE. The name kind of was another thing that was difficult to grab onto. Uh, it's like I said, it was at one point it was thrash. But we landed on Stone originally for being the last name for the male character back when it was still male. Um, and I thought it would be cool of smashing Stone into something else, like because this is to signify the two halves of a whole. You have Taz, now the female character Taz Stone, and then um, another thing to smash with it, which is would be their alias, their kind of vigilante superhero alias, and Crimstone just happened to sound awesome. Crim kind of taken from Crimson, and then Crimstone really reminds your mind of Brimstone, uh, and that just sounds really cool. You know, it was just kind of a happenstance thing, and a lot of things here at Zaid Comics are like that. You know, I'm constantly thinking about story and characters and just dumb ideas that eventually get enhanced to be, wow, that's kind of cool. You know, when I bounce ideas off my brother, he does that to me, things just fall into place. And I think a lot right now, a lot in my career in doing comics like this, a lot of that is just being in the right mindset at the right time or even at the right place. Um, Always thinking about your process and your creativity and your stories. It just helps a lot because things could just fall into place like that. You know, about the name again, there's a lot of confusion that people will know once they read the book. They think that the monstrous beast, his name is Crimstone, but Crimstone is them together. When Taz puts that mask on and goes out crime fighting, she's known as Crimstone. And that's, like I said, the two halves of a whole, her last name being Stone. On the back of her leather jacket, it says Stone. That's her name. And then Crim, when he's wearing that jacket, it has Crim little like graffitied above the stone. But his name is Crim, and that it was her childhood imaginary friend, and that's what she called Crim. You know, he was this little lanky, goofy guy that would make her laugh. So yeah, I mean that's Crimstone in a nutshell. I love to remember the evolution of where this character started and how amazing they've become together. I cannot wait to explore more stories with these characters, and I can't wait for you guys to read about Crimstone. I hope you've been liking the cool sketch, or not sketch, but the pencils and inks that Maria's been doing while we were talking about Crimstone. Definitely head over to the link below, grab the comic. You guys aren't going to want to miss out on this. We're going to be doing a lot more stories with these characters and more. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the bell for notifications so you know when we are going live or talking about more characters. And go back in our videos, go to our channel and look up our other characters. I did a video on the Silhouette. I did a video on Wildcard, and I did a stream with Alan Alonso about the Masquerade. So you could probably search up those keywords and find those videos. Maybe I'll be making a playlist, so look out for that as well. A Lost Pages Characters playlist. And we will see you guys next time. Remember to go to the link also to get some awesome merch. You can get a Lost Pages shirt with the Bisley cover on it, or any of our Magic Cop shirts. Also go to Gumroad if you want some prints from Magic Cop. After the Lost Pages ships, we will be having a bunch more art on the Gumroad, so you can purchase prints and posters of your favorite covers and characters from the Lost Pages.